Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to another guide. Today in this video I'm going to be showing you everything you need to know with regards to taming a Bronto. First things first, before you even start taming a Bronto, you want to clear the area out. So in my case right here, I have two Brontos. One is a high level Bronto and the other one is a low level Bronto. The problem here that I could encounter is when I start trying to knock out the high level Bronto, it could potentially aggro the low level Bronto. So for that reason, I will normally recommend taking out the low level Bronto as well as any other creature that could potentially affect your ability to knock it out. So that would be anything hostile such as the Pegomastax or other carnivores. Just basically clear the area out before you start knocking it out. Now the Bronto is of course a knockout tame. It is a useful creature for quite a few things. It can carry a lot, it can harvest loads of berries, but then also, as you can see right here, I've got two Bronto saddles, and its preferred kibble is the exceptional kibble. If you're going to kibble tame it, if it's high level, I do recommend using kibble to tame it. It does make it quicker, plus you get more levels on it, so it won't affect its taming effectiveness as much. Now let's get into what you need to craft the saddles. First things first, the simple Bronto saddle is for level 63, and then you'll also have a platform Bronto saddle at level 82, which is a bit more expensive. But these are the resources, as you can see, that are required for crafting the saddles. With the platform saddle, you can craft a small base on it should you choose to do so. Personally speaking, unless you're using it for PvP, I normally just use the normal Bronto saddle. The other thing that Bronto is good for, and this is the reason I'm taming it, is because you want to use stuff such as Bronto with the Rhinonathia to get the most levels on it. So if you have a pair of Brontos, it's worth breeding them and then raising the young for the extra added levels and bonuses when you do use it on a Rhinonathia. Now, as you can see right here, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be firing arrows from a distance. Now, I am using a crossbow, so for that reason, I am aiming above the Bronto to basically account for the arrow's fall. It does sort of travel in an arc. It is a bit of guesswork, but once you get used to it, you can pretty much kind of guess where to shoot. As it gets closer to me, I will then get on my bird and try and reposition somewhere further away from the Bronto, which is why it's useful to clear the area out. I know that this area is, or should be, free of hostiles. Just because I've cleared it out does not mean that others will not spawn, but it does increase my chances of not getting into bother with other hostile creatures. So I'm using the terrain to my advantage. This is a bit of a cliffy area, and so I'm using that to basically protect myself from the Bronto. The Bronto will generally reposition and try and come back for you, and so this is my chance to continue caking it in trank arrows when of course they do land. I am doing a bit of guesswork with regards to how high I need to shoot in order for the arrow to hit the Bronto. The other thing that is quite important is make sure that whatever flyer you're using is on passive, because you will end up in a scenario just like this where the Bronto might potentially tag you and or the flyer, and the flyer will then attack the Bronto. So here basically I did mess up a bit. Anyways, as you can see, I'm constantly keeping a fair distance between me and the Bronto. This allows me to shoot a couple of arrows into it. When it gets close to me, I then move to another position that I know is safe. So I know I could have shortened this out, but I want to show you exactly how I do it, just to kind of give you guys an idea. I'm always making use of the terrain. I'm watching where the Bronto is moving towards. Now the Bronto does move fairly slow, so if it's going in one direction, you can go in the opposite direction. It'll give you a chance to fire a couple of arrows into it, and that's pretty much the way it works. Now of course I've got the bushes in front here, which does make me have to guess a tad bit, but it is what it is. You'll know that the Bronto is ready to knock out once it starts running away. Of course, it is a bit of guesswork, so I wouldn't chance it. I still keep my distance from it. But right now it's trying to reposition, and so in this situation I'm just taking advantage of the whole situation. So as always, I'm just keeping my eyes on it. And then when it gets close to me, I reposition. As you can see, I'm fairly far away. Now, for the Bronto to turn, it does require quite a bit of space. It is going towards the forest, which is not all that ideal. It is behind a tree, which again is not ideal because I can't quite tell what its body is. It involves a bit of guesswork there. Now, as you saw there, it did lose aggro onto me until I hit it with an arrow, which again works to my advantage. This is a mechanic you can take advantage of. If you're too far away, sometimes they will lose interest, which does give you the necessary time to fire a couple of arrows into it. It is now down. Now I prefer to use the starving method, where I starve out the dino just enough for when I put the kibble in it, it tames instantaneously. So I guess I'll wait this one out. Alright, when it has been starved out, all you need to do is go up to the Bronto, access the inventory, drop the kibble in. With this, I'm also going to drop a saddle because I know it's going to be a tame. And then what I like to do is I like to be far away from the Bronto. That way nothing will aggro onto me and potentially hit the Bronto. The Bronto has very few natural enemies, so whilst I'm not on the ground and near to it, it should be fairly fine. I think one of the natural enemies would be the Rex and the Allosaurus and stuff like that, but they don't really spawn in this area. So yeah, we don't want a raptor trying to hit me and in the process hitting the Bronto, which would then of course affect the taming effectiveness, which again would have an impact on the amount of levels that I get. So there we are. That is pretty much how you tame a Bronto. Nothing too complicated, and as I said, it has a good carry weight, but it also has a platform saddle which allows you to build a mobile base on it, although it isn't the fastest creature. But even better than that, it is one of the best creatures to use for taming a Rhinonathia. With that being said and done, that is pretty much it from me, folks. I hope that you have found this video useful and informative. If you have, please don't forget to support me on the channel by hitting that like button, share, comment, and subscribe. And of course, as always, until next time, stay safe, folks.